we talked about creating all year long, and finally, my administrative rep here took on the responsibility for creating this. So I'm going to let her go over the brochure with you.
I thought it would be nice, since so many people don't know what a school council is, what its function is, and who actually are the members of the school council, that I would put this together. I hand drew the hound dog on the front, and just decided that we would highlight who the school council members are this year, what a school council is. Then in the center is what our goals are, which they have spoken about. Then kind of what's happening next, what we're planning for next year. And then we also ask on the inside if parents or anyone has any ideas or comments, we'd like to hear from everyone. On the back, I just put the highlights of this past year, which they have talked about, and a nice little picture of the Hood School. And I just thought it would be nice to have this in the lobby, and actually a couple of people tonight have said, gee, I don't even know who the school council members are in our school. So I said, well, take a brochure and you can ask some questions, and you'll have the information you need to ask the right questions.
So we're going to continue working on the same 4 goals for next year with intense focus on anti-bullying and respect. And we talked about providing some new assemblies of students, and even talked about parent assemblies. So coordinating that with the PA and bringing those things to our school.
And the survey and questionnaire system has been really nice. Earlier this year, I created a Houghton Mifflin needs survey, and Pam Bowden actually said, gee, that's a great idea, can I use that? And I know since then we've had some more web surveys out there, so those seem to be a pretty effective way of getting your finger on the pulse of what's going on.
And that's it. And I guess what I have to say is I want to piggyback on what Mel and Steve touched base on, which is we have a very high quality, talented staff, and we are dedicated to continuing the best that we can, but my concern as a school principal is how long can we keep up that momentum. It's tough times, as Dr. Troughton keeps saying. It's tough on us as administrators to oversee a school and particularly watch and try to motivate our staff to do the best they can under these circumstances. So we're worried about that.
I just wanted to add on to that. I know we keep saying that we've really hit our goals at the elementary schools with class sizes. I look at the Hood School and I see one grade, I think, with 3 classes of 25. I mean, that's fine, you know, with 3 classes of 25 or 24. But those are kind of outside of our, outside of our goals in terms of what we want at the elementary level. I see kindergarten classes with 20 to 22 students. Now, some people would say, well, that's fine, it's 20 kids. They're 5 years old. We should be having fewer students in our kindergarten classes. So while we've made a lot of progress at the elementary level, our hope was that we were going to be able to continue to make progress at that level. So, a very efficient plan here, both the progress report and the plan for next year. Does anybody have any questions for the Hood School Council? No? David, do we need a motion to approve this plan or
To
accept it? Okay.
Move to accept the Hood School plan for 2007-8.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
For your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the little school. The table.
I'll take it. We'll do this. Is that right? I'll turn them all together. You want these up too? Okay.
And I understand Bill hand drew this letter.
Assistant Charlie has one of the donuts.
Michelle Taylor drew it, right? One of our parents.
Very good.
We had a logo contest, yeah. Well, actually,
Okay, good.
this is my 12th year reopening the little school. Maybe the last, if you saw Fox 25 News last week, they take my options up to be some online movie star. I don't know if anybody saw, but we had Fox 25 News land last week, the helicopter, and dug me, and it was just a wonderful event.
Oh,
Also, at
really?
8:30, and they broadcast the 8:30 traffic report live,
Oh.
and it was
great.
pretty wild up there, and then he came in and did 45 question and answer, and there was over 160 pictures in a slideshow on their website.
Oh, great.
And we got to say hello to a few students who are ill and can't attend school right now, and it was just a wonderful whole school community event.
So you have options then, huh?
I have options.
So we're all offensive, don't put your day job just yet.
There's the door, right? No, it was a wonderful time. You see yourself, how many questions could kids ask about what it's like up in a helicopter? Well, there were a lot of questions. So it was a wonderful activity. Anyway, I'd like to welcome the two people who were able to come tonight from our school council, Ellen McLean, who's our learning center teacher, one of our two learning center teachers at Little School, and Deb Putney. Actually, it's not co-chair-elect, it's new co-chair for next year's PTO, and also serves as a parent representative on our school council. In addition to these people, I'd like to mention the rest of the council: Maeve Bradley, who's a teacher representative; Brian Sullivan, who's a parent representative; Michelle Reardon, who's a parent representative; Ken Shapiro, who's the community representative. And it's amazing, because when you go to put one of these plans together and you start looking at all the different areas, you're amazed at all the different topics that you discussed and all the different activities you've been involved in the year. And just real quickly, as I looked over the agendas, some of the topics on the agendas included the Houghton Mifflin Balanced Literacy Program, Open Circle, Cultural Enrichment for the PTO, Community Service, Teradyne, North Reading Initiative, Health and Wellness, Inclusion, School Programs and Activities, Parent-Teacher Organization, School and System-Wide Budget, Staffing, Full-Day Kindergarten, Time and Learning, Massachusetts Ed Reform Updates, Curriculum Framework, Science Fair, Reading Incentive Program, Standards-Based Report Cards, Strategic Planning, State Testing Administration Results, Professional Development, Technology, School Safety, Curriculum Development, Mid-Year and End-of-the-Year Progress Reports and School Goals, Development of the Annual School Improvement Program, and also every month on there was members' concerns and future agenda items. The goals that we work on at the Little School are aligned with North Reading's strategic planning goals, and take into consideration the results of our MCAS scores also. Our enrollment for this past year, and I know you people have this in advance, so I'm not going to walk through each section of it. And ended the year with a total enrollment of 425 preschool through grade 5. And next year, it's just about the same, 428 preschool through grade 5. All classes will enroll 23 or less. The highest enrollment is in grades 1 and 2, and the lowest enrollment is at K and 5. I really need to take a few minutes to talk about our parent organization, because they deserve the recognition, number one, and number two, I'm sure that we're going to be depending upon them for a lot of things next year also. The purpose of the PTO, probably any school PTO, is not only to provide funding and programs, but also to foster a relationship and communication between parents and teachers. And by teachers, I mean staff, administration, paraprofessionals, and teachers. And also to be involved in community efforts that affect the quality of education at the Little School. Over $35,000 was raised this year by our PTO through their fundraising efforts. And that's very important. But there were a lot of other types of activities that they planned that meant a lot to the school socially, culturally, and a way of building school pride. They worked with Hood and Batchelder schools, which is a great way of all three PTOs doing joint ventures and sharing information, ideas, and developing relationships that were beneficial to all schools, whether it was block booking the cultural enrichment programs or coming up with a fundraising scheme so that all businesses didn't get tapped the same year by all schools and all that. I just have to, you know, perhaps the last year's board, led by Miriam Veneziano and Laura Ely, and over 36 different fundraisers, programs, activities, and events they've been involved with. And while they all deserve mentioning, and they're all in there that you can look in the plan and look at it, but just a few things that make a difference in the lives of students and staff at our school. They purchase assignment planners for all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. They purchase subscriptions to National Geographic for grades 3, 4, and 5. They sponsor the Walk to School Day. They approved the expenditure of $5,400 for supplemental reading materials that supplement the Houghton Mifflin reading program. They're involved with our school going to the North Reading Food Pantry, year-round beautification of the courtyard and school grounds. They contribute, rural school contributes to the high school scholarship. They funded an art club for grade 4th and 5th graders. They sponsored the BSO trip for all 4th and 5th graders. They secured a donation of an automated external defibrillator from Phyllis Medical System for the school. They received grants of over $1,100 from the Mass Cultural Council. And they offered 14 total enrichment programs, speakers, artists, and performers, providing supplemental educational opportunities. $100 stipend to each teacher and specialist at the start of the year, and $10 per student for field trips. They go to reducing this. You can see all the different cultural enrichment programs that are listed here in the plan, but certainly very high caliber programs that are carefully selected only after they've gone and seen it at another school or whatever, and it's all curriculum related. And as I said, I want to congratulate Deb and Sue Ladowski will be co-chairing next year's board, and all the people who have agreed to help serve. So it's a very active group, and we certainly could not exist without our wonderful PTO. In the area of professional development this year, there was a huge focus and very time-consuming implementation of the Balanced Literacy Program. The wonderful news is that we were able to implement the program preschool through grade 5. There was none of this, feeding in. And there was a lot of stress for teachers because there was a lot to learn about how to best implement the program. That certainly is an accomplishment in a year. That will continue next year. We also, and I just don't know how we're going to continue with all the work we've done in inclusion. Our schedule at the little school is completely done by my staff with my final approval, and coordinating it so that special ed services and other general ed services are organized throughout the teacher's schedule so that they're included within the classroom setting. Very successful, implemented collaboration sessions, 45 minutes a week, with special ed people and other resource people attending those sessions by grade level. And during that time, the planning for the week with specific needs of individual children and how instruction is going to be differentiated. How is the learning center teacher going to come in and what part of the lesson they're going to do and with what group. And I just don't know if we're going to be able to, we'll do our best to continue that. We're going to have to do some shucking and jiving to make sure that to see how much we can salvage of that. The school-wide community outreach program has been fantastic, and the food drive that we did in February was incredible. All the food was organized by food group outside of the office and charted and graphed on the wall, and we tried to get the biggest bang for our buck on it, and they were quite pleased with that.
Let me just interrupt you, I'm sorry. This was a wonderful thing that the little school did, and a community member came to me recently asking if the schools would be willing to support this sort of thing for the local food pantry, and I said, this is exactly the sort of thing we're looking for. And I had the example in mind that you had already done this, and I'm very pleased to say that every one of our schools is going to be taking a month next year.
Right.
And between the schools and local churches, there's going to be a food drive every month for the local food pantries. They won't have the
Right.
ebb and flows that they get at holiday times, and then that creates a drag.
That's why we specifically chose February, which was an off time. We'll be doing several months next year, but February will be the biggest.